Hey, what's going on, guys? So our lure review is going to be on this Yo-Zuri Sashimi popper. You guys remember the review that I did on the sashimi? I think it was the Rattling Vibe, and that was a really nice lure. And this is right there with it. The Yo-Zuri stuff is interesting because I don't think that they do a lot of marketing, at least for their bass gear here in America. So it's kind of interesting because they have really nice gear. It's right there with I was going to show you guys this this SK Pop Grande by Jackall. You guys know that I have an affinity for Jackall stuff because I feel like they're one of the companies that do it right. And you look at the Yo-Zuri one right there on the top. I mean, the quality's right there with it. I mean, it's just the paint jobs are really nice. They have really nice three-dimensional holographic eyes that have a lot of detail on them. Really nice hooks, feather trailer hooks that are right there on par with kind of the same quality. It's a really nice product. I just don't think that they do a lot of marketing. I think that where you see a lot of their marketing is probably in the saltwater stuff or maybe in just other countries. But if you guys haven't tried anything out by Yo-Zuri, give them a shot because I think that you'll be impressed. And for me, the first impressions of this lure are right there. From my understanding, I think that there might be another size of this lure, but as far as the sashimi popper freshwater goes, on Tackle Warehouse, it looks like we have a 3-inch, and it looks like there's a 3.5-inch, but it doesn't say FW for the freshwater, I guess. I don't know what it means, but it might be slightly different than what we're looking at here. But for the purpose of what I have in front of us here, this is the 3-inch variety. It has a weight of 3/8 of an ounce, and obviously it's a topwater floater. So it sits in the water, kind of slightly canted like this. Some poppers will sit like this. This is exactly kind of the same idea behind the topwater walkers and such, where I think you're going to get a better, probably, you got to take the good in with the bad, where if it's sitting down in the water, you're probably going to promote a better hook on the fish as opposed to it sitting like this. I couldn't tell you for sure, but it seems like most of the topwater lures that are out there work better when they're just slightly canted or completely horizontal on top of the water. Now this one does sit, like I said, slightly canted in the water. It does have a really good gurgling, popping that it makes, and because it does sit slightly canted or almost flat in the water, you can work it fast. The ones that sit like this in the water, you can't really work them fast because by the time they get back up here, they're kind of going right back down here like this. Because at rest, they want to sit straight up and down. The ones that sit like this, they kind of just want it, they're in that position where you can see the cup mouth, it just wants to spit water forward in that position the entire time. So if you like to work a popper quickly where you're just kind of just twitch, you're going to want to look for a popper that kind of sits slightly canted or horizontal in the water as opposed to straight up and down. There's some great poppers out there that sit straight up and down in the water column, but this one doesn't. This is not one of those. So the fact that it's a sashimi, you can obviously see that it has these ribs on it. The sashimi effect, if you will, is actually this chameleon bone color here shows it a little bit better. The sashimi effect is that it's a color changing effect. So if I turn it kind of this way, you can see that it's just more of a bone, slightly tan color. And then when I turn it this way, you can see that it's more of a brown color there. I don't think, again, it's really going to matter because this is the business end of what the fish is seeing anyway. So, and you can see that color changing effect, it's not happening here. So I suppose that if you wanted to catch an osprey or an eagle or something like that, that maybe that color might make a difference to those raptors flying around in the sky. But I think that as far as the poppers and stuff go, at least in this respect, the sashimi effect is almost non-existent in the respect that we're using it. But it's still cool, and it does a good job of catching the anglers on the shelf. So it does have a rattle in it. It's a very faint rattle. It almost kind of sounds like the split rings are kind of buzzing around, but I mean, I guess it is a rattle. It's probably not going to make much of a difference in the water. For me, I wouldn't use this lure because of the rattle. In fact, if it didn't have a rattle, I don't think it would make any difference to me, because I'm going to be using it for the kind of hardware that it has on there, and its ability to spit water and being able to move it rather quickly. So if I'm going to be able to throw it out there and I want to move it really quick, I want to move it back and get it back to the boat really fast, then this is something that I would pick up, kind of like in the same respect or the same breath of picking up a spook, something that you want to cover a lot of water with, only it's a popper. So kind of cool in that respect. And it is a 3/8 ounce lure. It's a 3-inch, so it's a little slender and a little longer than some of the other poppers that you're going to see out there. But 3/8 ounce, you think, it's not very heavy, so you're going to have a hard time casting it. It definitely doesn't cast as far as a spook or anything like that. But in the realm of poppers, it's probably in the upper third of castability for poppers. Poppers, generally speaking, for the short distance of between 65 and 85 feet or whatever that you're going to usually cast a popper, this is probably on the higher side, probably towards the 85 to 100 feet castability. So it's nice to be able to have a popper that you can actually cast a little bit further than just right in front of you, and have those pinpoint casts and stuff that you can actually work this one fast. You can cast it far, and you can cover a lot of water with it. So that's where I see the distinction with this lure as opposed to just any other popper that's on the block. And then obviously because it's a really nice lure. So Yo-Zuri makes some nice stuff, and I know most of you guys that watch my videos are kind of just looking for the next latest and greatest thing, and this is a pretty neat little lure here. So go ahead and go over the colors that we have here. Well, let me show you guys the measurement first before I forget to do this, just so you guys get the idea of how big the lure is. From the end ring there to the front, it's about 3 1/8 inches, and then obviously without that ring, it's about 2 15/16. So it's right at 3 inches. So so this is a pretty nice little color here. This is Chameleon Baby Bass. It really doesn't have that chameleon color changing effect really at all. I mean, even in the pictures on Tackle Warehouse, it doesn't show any color changing effect, but it's actually a very, very nice looking lure. I think you guys will really appreciate it, especially probably here in the still shots of what this thing looks like. The Tackle Warehouse picture, it's kind of washed out by how much light that they have in that picture, so it really doesn't do it justice for how much color saturation is actually in this lure. So this is Chameleon Baby Bass. This next color is Chameleon Bone. I got this lure just because I like throwing white or bone colored poppers. This has a little bit of orange on the bottom, so I don't think that really makes much of a difference for what I'm going to be using it for. I mean, I would actually rather it had not had any orange on the bottom of it, just because I like the pure bone colors. But I can still find a place to use this. Like I said, this does have that chameleon color changing effect on the top part of the lure and somewhat on the sides of it, on the profile of the lure a little bit too, but on the bottom of the lure it doesn't have it at all, and that's what the bass is going to be looking at, especially because this doesn't sit on its side or anything like that. So the sashimi effect, if you will, is really not going to come into play here. So this is Chameleon Bone. Alright guys, so I hope you guys liked the video. It's a really nice lure. I think overall, the Yo-Zuri stuff, probably not so much in the poppers, because the poppers is, I mean, it's kind of just, we're not really buying it for how nice they are or anything like that. We're more buying a topwater lure like this for how well they function on the water. How well does this thing pop? How well does it cast? These are the things that I want to know, because those are the things that are going to incite bites. Not so much the casting distance, but the idea that can I pop it well? Does it chug good? Does it spit water well? Does it have a nice bubble? Yes, it does all that stuff well. But on top of that, it's a nice lure too. So I think when you buy something like a lipless crankbait or a mid diver or deep diving crankbait, and you were to use that sashimi lure, like the best one that I saw was the Rattle and Vibe in the sashimi, but in that red crawdad color that went from that chartreuse to that red. That is just such a sweet color, and it seems to be so realistic in the idea that you could throw it out there and that would be something that would incite a bite, that color changing effect. So very, very cool. Probably not going to take too much effect in the Topwater popper, like I said, but still a cool lure. Like I said, if you guys like the video, hit the like button, and talk to you guys soon. We'll have another video for you in a couple days. Thanks a lot.